Former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has been on the hunt to avenge his losses to Alex Pereira, and in this reinvention of himself as a fighter, he's got a few new tattoos, some of which adorn his face, to mark this new phase in his legendary combat sports career. A tattoo for each of Stylebender's eyes. Israel, like many MMA fighters, is covered in a selection of tattoos all along his body, but the most recent additions came on Adesanya's previously uninked face. One of them was pretty low-key, a tiny pair of wings. It personally felt like dragonfly wings to me, were drawn on them like they stem from the fighter's eyes themselves. The former champion hasn't given us any explanation on what the wings may mean, and it may be something personal because it's pretty hard to speculate what this one could mean.
And I get them inside, it's for my chakra to infuse them and make sure I can channel it in that moment.
But the other one is a bit more direct in its meaning. At the corner of the left eye, he had the word dragon edged in Arabic in blocky shorthand. That's an interesting choice of ink in that location. But I think I know what the Stylebender's getting at. The most famous combat sports face tattoo is Iron Mike Tyson's flame tattoo outlining his own left eye. Tyson got the ink in 2003 at a time in his career when he desperately needed to reinvent himself, and it was the most recognizable feature about the fighter for years. Israel's dragon tattoo can be a comparatively subtle reference to the Tyson iconic fire tattoo, and it's just like Israel to pay homage to one of his heroes through a tattoo. He has several tattoos referencing his favorite shows, anime, and characters. The dragon will be right at home with the rest of Adesanya's ink.
On your stomach.
Yes, with the ocean and moon spirit from Avatar. So
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Fire-breathing reptiles may be the coolest animal reference on Adesanya's body, but it's not the first. Right in the middle of his chest is the outline of the African continent, filled with the Lagos lion of the Nigerian's home country. The side of his neck and throat is embroidered with a large, gorgeous bird flapping its wings, flying in place of the dragon that could only be referenced in words. Not to mention the werewolf on one of the Nigerian's arms that will surely keep the dragon company in the realm of mythical creatures. The broken native tattooed across his chest is, according to Adesanya,
The fight scenes was what drew me to anime. But then the stories and the depth of the characters kept me there.
A reflection of how people treated him his entire life. As the underdog, someone who won't amount to anything. And he keeps it there to remind himself of where he started from.
That's it, smiles it.
And having a full figurine of Toph from Avatar reinforces this feeling. The blind earthbender went down as one of the strongest benders to ever live, despite her disability, and is Stylebender's favorite character for The Last Airbender. But one show is referenced repeatedly by Israel, be it on his body, in his videos, or in his speech. Naruto influences much of Adesanya's mindset. Tattoos aren't just a cool accessory for Adesanya. There is meaning behind all of his ink, and the deepest references he makes come from the extremely popular shonen anime Naruto. Adesanya posed like Rock Lee, his favorite character, when he took on his idol
Everything physical because he doesn't have any ninjutsu, so
Anderson Silva in the Octagon, and added a short snippet of Gaara of the Sand at the end of his new tattoos unveiling video. Gaara has a tattoo at the corner of his eye that looks like exotic writing in the show, and it's probably more than a coincidence that Adesanya has one with a similar vibe. He already had the exact tattoo Naruto himself had on his belly, meant to keep powerful spirits locked deep inside him. So it's safe to say Adesanya put some thought into the ink he gets, but he's still just a human. Some of his ink is just cool, like the huge 3D tattoo of Deadpool pointing his desert eagles in a cross. That's a pose Adesanya pulled out after he knocked out Derek Brunson in his rise to the title. Not everyone is impressed by Israel's new choice of tattoo, though. Fans think Alex Pereira broke Adesanya.
We know who's next. That Poatan, Poha. Trust me.
Some Twitter users were so offended at the aesthetic choice of the tattoos, they started making comments that pointed toward Pereira knocking all the sense out of him in their last fight. One user just didn't understand why Israel would get such a simple tattoo, a few Arabic letters, at such a prominent place on his body. Whale, another, just replied to the former champ's pose with the phrase, "the Pereira effect."
I remember everything like an elephant.
While another refused to believe it was even real. But rest assured they definitely are real, and fans aren't wrong when they say it's a Pereira effect.
Still fighting. Israel trying to finish. Wow.
It's no secret that Alex is Israel's mortal enemy at this point, being the rare, common spot in Adesanya's flawless combat sports journey in 2 disciplines. He was very open about needing to approach fighting a bit differently. The videos to Twitter revealing his tattoos were captioned, "The old version of you must die before you come alive." As if history is an indicator, Israel definitely has some reinventing to do.
I was taking it to him, beating him up, taking his legs. His leg was compromised as well. But
looks like Pereira may have the Nigerian figured out. The man many call the Brazilian Terminator has fought and beat Adesanya thrice now, twice in kickboxing and most recently for the middleweight championship.
Because he's...
In almost any other situation, I'd say Alex just has Israel's number, and it may even be true. But the losses need to be examined a bit more closely to understand how much Israel deserves a rematch.
I have one more final face-off before I touch him, and I'm going to touch him bad.
Their first kickboxing fight was a decision victory for Alex that many fighting pundits like Joe Rogan believe was the wrong decision, despite the fight being pretty close. Their second fight was anything but close, with Adesanya outclassing Pereira for the entirety of the fight and even knocking him down at the end of a round.
That's the power. Holy.
But Pereira managed to land a signature left hook just before the fight ended to get a storybook victory. And that's pretty much exactly what happened in their first MMA fight last year. Izzy was dominating him until he got caught and knocked out. It starts to feel like fate almost that Pereira has managed to beat Israel thrice, as if he was sent to the earth to humble the dominant middleweight champion. Or maybe he just has the perfect combination of attributes to defeat Israel.
You're gonna get left frozen like Elsa. I'll leave it at that.
In any case, Pereira is going to have a busy time as champion if he wants to hold on to the strap. What an Alex Pereira reign at middleweight looks like. Many have called Pereira the worst champion in UFC history, and that doesn't have much to say about his skill as a genuinely dangerous fighter. It's just that he's fought nobody. He won the championship in just his 3rd fight for the UFC. Earning 2 great knockouts in previous fights, but against fighters outside the top echelon of the division. The first thing he has to get through to prove himself as a worthy champion is a rematch with Adesanya. When you take out a champion who has been that dominant in his division for that long, an immediate rematch is to be expected. But let's say he beats Izzy again and puts that rivalry to bed. Then he has to deal with a collection of wrestling phenoms at 185. If Israel was able to take Poten down and land some ground and pound, someone with the pedigree and weight of Marvin Vettori could very easily dominate Alex. The Italian Dream is ranked in the top 5 and has the solid chin a fighter needs to fight Alex, and veteran wrestler Derek Brunson is cut from the same cloth. My personal favorite is Bobby Knuckles, though. Robert Whittaker has been fighting at the top of the middleweight division for years, and the only man he hasn't been able to beat is Israel Adesanya. If there's a fighter on the roster that deserves a shot at the belt after Israel, it's Whittaker. Now that Israel has his tattoos in order, we can't wait to see the effect they have on his performance when he rematches Alex Pereira. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.